yoga of coming close to the Lord by understanding this Vishwarupa, this universal form, right? So in the beginning of this chapter, we saw how Arjuna, he requests Krishna to show that form of opulence, all the opulence that we discussed in the 10th chapter. Arjuna is asking, can you show all of this together in one place, this form of yours? Then this universal form, as Krishna shows, he needed some special vision. So he bestowed with his divine eyes, right? And Acharyas, they explain, of course, this is a slightly, what should I say? A sweet explanation of this, because Arjuna, if you remember yesterday in the beginning of the class, I spoke of these 3 levels. There is physical vision, there is metaphysical vision, and there is spiritual vision. By the end of 10th chapter, Arjuna already got the spiritual vision. That vision of wisdom was already there. He was able to see the absolute truth in Krishna, right? And the proof of that was the prayers that he prayed in the second half of the 10th chapter. So in a sense, he was already at a spiritual vision, but now he wanted to see something below that, the metaphysical vision of the universal form, because it included the entire creation, right? That macrocosmic vision. So in a sense, coming from a personal vision to this all-pervading universal vision was actually a downgrade. So what Arjuna was given was actually a downgraded vision. So though the verse is saying at divine eyes, certain acharyas explain that Arjuna, from a friend, he had to be given a lower vision so that he could look at Krishna out of fear, right? To look at someone as a friend is more intimate, it is more advanced. But to look at someone out of fear and reverence and awe is actually downgrading one. So in a sense, Arjuna's vision got downgraded. But of course, this is a slide point that enhances the mellow, the sweetness of understanding of this chapter. But don't worry about this particular top point. But the point was, Arjuna had to be given some vision to see the universal form, and the beautiful description of the universal form is there. And what exactly is a universal form? Think of this universal form as a conceptual material form of Krishna. The entire gigantic cosmos were to be represented as a form of the Lord, as a body of the Lord, a material body of the Lord. That is his universal form. And when this universal form was presented, Arjuna started praying in astonishment. And slowly, from astonishment, it started turning into fear. Arjuna got disturbed by looking at the terrible form. Why? Because he could see the future. All these warriors were rushing into the universal form's mouth, rushing towards their death, just like how moths would run into fire. And Krishna showed Arjuna the future, that this is what is going to happen. They are all going to die, right? So therefore, just become my instrument and fight, because I am this imperceptible time, I am this great destroyer time. Just like how this analogy of this fire and heat, we understood how Krishna, in his spiritual form, he is there as the fire outside the material creation. But inside this material creation, he is running the show in his avyakta murti, as his unmanifested form, imperceptible form, as a time factor. He's running the show of this material world. Again, going back to our 9th chapter, when Krishna says that, yes, I'm inside the creation and yet I'm outside the creation. Inside the creation, he's there as the heat inside the pot. Outside the creation, he's there as fire outside the pot, right? So this time is this imperceptible, impersonal, formless aspect of the Lord. And therefore, he's telling Arjuna, therefore, you have seen the future, now become my instrument. In my time form, I'm going to kill all these warriors, you just become my instrument, right? And therefore, he predicts the outcome of the war. And after seeing, but still Arjuna is still in that mood of fear. And now he starts to surrender and starts apologizing to Krishna. Krishna, please forgive me. I may have called you names like Yadava and so on. But no, now I'm completely disturbed due to fear. Please come back to your 4-armed form. I want to respect you and worship you that way, right? Then Krishna, now in that last section, he reveals a very, very important point. While the universal form was described as the Ghora Rupa and form of opulence, it was only called rare. But the two-handed gentle form, the beautiful form, was called extremely rare. Why was it extremely rare? Because to see greatness in a great form is not so great. But to see all that greatness in a not so great form, in a simple, gentle, beautiful form, is the real vision. And that vision comes to the vision of wisdom, and that wisdom comes to the path of Ananya Bhakti or exclusive devotion. And that essence was reiterated in text number 55. And now Krishna has repeatedly been talking about this Ananya Bhakti or this path of exclusive devotion, devotion, devotion. So, what does it take to be a devotee? That he's going to talk about in the next chapter, which is titled as Bhakti Yoga. So, this is where it all culminates in all the description, starting from the 7th chapter onwards. He's been talking about the devotional aspect, but now it all culminates. And very beautifully, Krishna is going to summarize what encompasses, what is included in this understanding of bhakti or bhakti yoga, right? That we are going to see. So very another very important chapter and very powerful chapter and very practical chapter that is going to come up, and it will broaden our understanding of what exactly is spirituality in itself, right? Because we've been talking about this path of exclusive devotion, but is there anything other than that? So all these questions will be very beautifully answered in tomorrow's chapter.